quit my job and I decided to move to Portugal. So now here I am, more than a year later, and I've been thinking about making this video. If you haven't watched any of my videos, I do self-publishing, and if there's one thing that I learned in all this time working for myself, is that I basically made myself unemployable. I'm sure there are many people out there who made the same decision I did, which is to quit their job and just start their own business. And I just want to say that it has been the best decision I have ever made in my entire life, and that I am never going back to a 9 to 5. When I made the decision to quit my job, I had no idea where I would be in 1 year. I had no idea whether my business would survive or how things would look like in 1 year, and I was scared, but I also knew that I had no other option because working a job for me was just a no-go. I only worked full-time for 7 months in my entire life, and I knew like those 7 months were enough for me to know that I do not want that for myself, and that's why I decided to switch to part-time. But I talked about this story in a different video, so now I really just want to talk about why I will never go back to that after this experience of working for myself. So number one for me, which has always been my number one goal, even more so than the goal of making money, which obviously is a huge part of why I'm doing this, but I want to speak about the importance of freedom. I have now realized how used to the idea I was that one should just have, well, I speak for Austria because this is where I worked before. So in Austria, employees have 25 days of holiday per year. And I remember that being just like amazing for me at the time, because Austria is, I think, above average when it comes to number of weeks in which you get paid holiday. And I used to believe that was amazing. Now I can work from wherever I want, and I do not feel drained at the end of the day. And I mean, I do spend a lot of my days working, and I am loving it because I have a bigger goal, and I know that this goal is mine. I am not working for anyone else's goal. Second reason is that I feel like I have so much more room for growth. And I remember when I used to be employed, at the end of the day, at the end of the work day, you are over it. I do believe for most people, when the work day ends, they just go about doing their own thing. And I don't blame them. I think that's the rational thing to do, in fact, because it's not their business. They do not have a goal themselves that they are striving for other than doing their task that they were hired for. But for me personally, that is just draining, because I remember feeling the same way. There's only so much you can achieve being an employee because you do not have the freedom of making decision for the company. The person who has that power is the owner. You may have an influence, you may suggest things. I think having a bigger purpose is what drives me and motivates me. Another extremely important reason, which I only got the chance to experience more recently, I think having the freedom to be wherever you are gives you the chance to meet like-minded people, which is, I don't know, I would say life-changing. I think it's life-changing to be around people with similar goals. If you go to places where other people with similar goals go, then you will have the chance to meet them and you will learn from each other. And I think a huge part of what makes us who we are the people around us. And if you are surrounded by people who do not strive for similar goals, then you are going to end up having similar habits. When I used to live in Vienna in Austria, I don't think I had the circle I needed around me. And when you don't have that circle, it's difficult for you to believe that you can actually make it, because you do not have anyone as example. You just, yes, you may look somebody up online and you see, oh, there are all these people who have an online business and it's working for them, but you do not meet any person like that in real life. And that, I think, is stopping you psychologically, because you do not actually believe in your mind that you can make it. And you need to first believe that you can make it before you take the action to do so. And that was definitely the case for me. I definitely think one of my biggest nightmares is having to work a 9 to 5. Like, that's basically what restricts my freedom, what limits the possibilities in your life of the goals you strive for. It limits the people you have around you, because if you're only living in one city, then you will never get the chance to meet other amazing people who have amazing goals. And from my experience, I've noticed that people I have met while traveling are also so much more open-minded, because not only they have experienced different countries, but it's not really just about that. It's about having the courage to move to a different place or to travel for a longer period of time to a different place. And for a person to be able to get there, they must have done something in their life. Like they must have started a business, or they must have quit a job. And I think that's why most of the people I've met were very inspirational. I think working for yourself gives you the freedom to decide what to do with your time. If I'm not working, or even if I am working, I can always decide, okay, now I actually want to take a break and go to the gym, or I don't feel like working this morning, I'm just going to work in the afternoon, or I want to go travel somewhere, I can do it tomorrow if I want to. The options are endless. You are not restricted by somebody telling you what to do with your time. There was no way that I had so many possibilities to grow when I was working a 9 to 5. Because, like, for instance, now I can make my health a priority. If I decide gym is really important to me, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, I'm going to go. Or if I decide I need to spend hours just learning something, like learning a new skill or reading or doing something that helps you develop as a person, you can actually dedicate hours of your day to that. And there was no time in which I could dedicate hours of my day to something like that when I was working. I think that's just something I cannot and do not want to give up on. And I know that I never will. Before I quit my job, I had fears related to, oh, but what am I going to do when I have to retire? Like, it's safer to have a job. It's safer for me to have a retirement plan that's paid by the company. And I have so radically changed my mind about that, because first of all, being in control of what I do, how much money I earn, like now I'm not restricted by waiting for a promotion every 2 years, but I can actually double or triple my income if I put more effort into my business in a matter of months. And not only that, but I realized that I can take better care of myself than the government would. Because when you are in control of your life, when you are responsible for your income, and when you are responsible for your retirement, you are going to put the effort in to have things properly put in place. And I think this is more empowering than just relying on a third party who doesn't have your best interest at heart in the same way you do. No other person and no other third party can take better care of yourself than you can take care of yourself. And with this, whether you are in a position in which you have doubts about having quit your job, or you are thinking about doing so, I do believe it is the best decision one can make.